We are back for another episode of the Trackside Podcast. This time we are reviewing the Chinese Grand Prix weekend. I am back with Ben and Will, as per usual. Boys, how are we doing?
Yeah, all good. All good. First sprint weekend of the season. Nice to be back in China as well after 5 years. So looking forward to going through it.
Oh, I've just realised that my camera is severely off and I'm far away. So very well prepared. There you go. Now we're better. But it's so much better.
But I think, best way to start this episode will be talking about the sprint weekend as a whole. I think obviously I've made it quite clear that I'm a big advocate for the sprint weekend. Only having one practice, I feel like, is a lot better for the sport. And I mean, there was kind of a lot more action this weekend than we've seen in previous weekends because of what the sprint proposes. What do you two think? Will, I'll come to you first about.
Yeah, hold that, Ben. Anyway, I really like the sprint weekend. I think, like you said, it having free practice sessions is a bit pointless. Like, just chuck the drivers. They're supposed to be the best in the world. Just chuck them straight in, let them adapt to it. Let them just get out on track, do one practice session, and then straight into action. But I think I forgot how fun of a circuit China is. Like, that long back straight is just unbelievable. It's so nice to see, and that caused many overtaking moves that we haven't actually seen in ages. And it was nice to be back at China. Very emotional for Guan Yu Zhou as well, for his home Grand Prix, even though that Sauber is not where they want it to be, and he's at the back of the pack. He was still absolutely lapping up the emotion that was in the crowd. But I think as sprint weekends go, it's just so much more fun. I honestly wish every weekend was a sprint weekend, just because the amount of action like you actually have. The one thing I do want though, can we just have a decently timed Grand Prix for once, please? Can we? I'm fed up. Why is it that the season openers are all before 6 a.m? Why? What? How? Oh yeah, let's kick off the season with the majority of the. Here's what I can't understand: the majority of F1 is watched in the UK. We know that. That's where the sport is aimed at. Why is it? Well, Ben, it is. It's not America, is it? Because they keep trying to provoke to the American audience.
What? So there's only 2 countries in the entire world?
No, you know what I mean. The majority
You should say Europe.
of F1 is watched in Europe or England mainly. But why is it that every single race has been at 4 a.m., 4 to 6 a.m. here?
Because
Will clearly just not discovered time zone.
No, yeah, but have the time zone. Do the race at a decent time for us as well.
Yeah, but how do you think they feel for the rest of the season?
Oh, well, you had your parade. Move on.
Well, to be fair, I think the reason that they've put them all together is to try and make it so that the distance travelled between each country, between the races, is shorter, which is, I guess, is understandable, but they're still making them journeys to go to the other tracks anyway.
You say that, we've had a 2-week gap to go from China to Japan, or vice on the other way around. How does that make sense? That's
I can understand it being from Australia to Japan, but
yeah, that's a 2-week gap.
Japan to China, it's only across the water.
Yeah, but also as well, it's not just. Yeah, but it's not just the people. They don't just pick the Grand Prix and go, "Oh, we'll do that weekend." It all depends on the logistics and everything else that goes on behind the scenes.
Look at Captain Reasonable over here.
Listen, I'm just saying, Will, someone has to on this podcast.
What? You're the voice of reason, are you?
I am the voice of reason.
You're the voice of reason.
I am the voice of reason.
Right.
I will have you know that my Lewis Hamilton take last week, at first, you thought I was going to get absolute. If you go back and look through that, many people are on my side.
Sure.
Many people.
Whatever you say. Yeah, all 4.
Not as many as...
Our number's the 2 that were against it.
Was there only 2? I thought there's more. To be fair, there was a lot of interactions for that, so thank you to anyone who's listening, interacting.
Let's just let Ben waffle.
He may get the all the favourites or whatnot, but I give points that give the comment section a good.
Yeah, because the
good
comment
little
section
ramble.
are calling you a massive tool. That's what they
Yeah.
are.
No. Actually, there's a lot of people backing me up.
No, there were, to be fair, but I think that's probably the best way to get onto it. So obviously, FP1, there wasn't really, apart from the fire on the side of the track, which was crazy, by the way.
Twice, didn't it?
Yeah, because it happened in FP1 and then it happened in the sprint quali as well later on that morning. So, the fire on the track was really weird, but going straight into...
how that happened?
Yes, the sparks from the cars.
Yeah, sparks from the car then got blown onto the grass and then ignited it.
Also, you've mentioned the sparks being blown, obviously referencing the weather there. The weather this weekend was, you couldn't really predict it. It was...
Well, this brings me into my conspiracy theory that sprint weekends, it always rains. Literally, go back and look at almost pretty much every other sprint weekend since they came into the sport.
It could be true.
It rains almost every sprint weekend. I'm thinking Austria. I'm thinking so many more. Silverstone was the very first one, 2021, and I don't think it did. But really, however many we've had, it always seems to rain every sprint weekend.
It didn't rain in... No, or did it?
I thought it rained in the quali.
Yeah.
Sprint quali, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Up towards the end.
Yeah, no, but in Silverstone 2021. I thought it rained in the sprint quali.
Well, maybe it did.
But
they didn't have sprint quali back then.
They didn't. It was just
quali for the sprint. But anytime there's a sprint weekend, it does seem to rain. Which I think helps the sprint's case for it being better because you get different racing because of the weather, if you get what I mean. I still like the format, but I think the rain and the weather is helping them out a little bit.
I've just noticed something off topic.
Go on.
Ben, tilt your head down.
No, listen.
You've got to go faster, Stripe.
A what?
You've got to go faster, Stripe.
What's that?
Ollie, can you see it?
Does that mean is it the balding at the top?
No, it's not the balding, but there seems to be like a
line. He's got to go faster, Stripe.
I know what that is. I can't see myself on this. Hang on. This bit?
Back on the podcast.
Yeah. It goes all the... No, but tilt your head, look to your right. Not fully, but hold on. Look straight at the camera. Take your hand away, but look down. And look slightly to the right, tiny bit. There, see it? See it? You see it?
I don't get it.
You have to watch it back when I post this, Ben, because there's a little go faster stripe there.
What's a go faster stripe? I don't get that.
Right, you know how yobbos put, to use the Jeremy Clarkson term, you know how yobbos put go faster stripes on their Vauxhall Corsas because they think it adds 370 brake horsepower.
Right.
You've got one of them in your hair.
Wow. That's an honour. There you go, you see.
Shame it didn't help you winning go-karting. I'm still taking the moral high ground for that one.
I've no idea what's going on. I literally have no idea what's going on.
Right, anyway, back to the sprint quali. Now, SQ1 and SQ2 weren't really too interesting.
There wasn't on Twitter.
There wasn't
anything happened this weekend.
There wasn't really a lot going on. But then the heavens opened for SQ3 and it sent the top 10 into absolute pandemonium. None of the drivers seemed to know what they were doing, and then the gaps between who was going fastest and third were by 2 or 3 seconds. I mean, Perez at one point set a lap quicker than Lando, I think it was, by 2.4 seconds or something like that. And I was watching it and I was like, what?
Also, how many lap times are deleted for track limits as well? Jesus.
Don't talk to me about that.
No, you see, I don't think that Lando's time should have been deleted. I know, Ben, you'll probably... I don't think it should have been. Look, here we go. Here's the Lewis Hamilton...
That is one long neck.
So I get it. He did go off track. But then you look on board and you look at his delta on the top right of his steering wheel. It says that he's lost time by going in the gravel. I mean, who's surprised that he's lost time going in the gravel? Because I don't think anyone can be.
Not accelerating
but
well.
You can see that going down the straight on his fastest lap once he's crossed the line, okay, he's exceeded the limits, but he's lost time.
It's not about whether he did or didn't lose time. It's the principle. The rules are there for a reason. Why just decide to change them?
Because he didn't gain time.
Doesn't matter. The rule clearly states if you have a lap time deleted, your next lap will also not count.
Ben, when someone goes deep into turn 1, do they instantly get a penalty for track limits? No, because they don't gain an advantage. If you gain an advantage,
that's when you get advantages.
That's when you get
rules are rules.
The rule is what I'm saying. The rule is if you gain an advantage by going off track, your lap time is deleted, or you will get a penalty if it's in a race. If you don't gain an advantage by going deep, that's why if people lock up and go deep and go off track into like turn 1 or something like that, or like when Hamilton. Alright, so you're telling me when Hamilton locked up and went deep during the sprint race, he should have got a penalty because he went off track, or he should have got a track limits warning.
Well, how's that? That doesn't make any sense, Will.
How's that not make sense?
Because he paid the price by giving up the position the next lap.
But he went off track though, didn't he?
Yeah, but it's not qualifying.
Let's be real. Did he give up the position, or was Max just 10 times quicker than him?
No, but Max would have got him eventually, but it wouldn't have been that next lap.
But Ben, my point is because he went off circuit. You're saying because he went off circuit,
yeah, but it's not qualifying.
It doesn't matter.
It's not qualifying.
It's still the same principle.
It's not the same. No, it isn't.
It carries over.
No, it doesn't.
It does. If
you get a black, if you go off, you get your 3 warnings, then you get your black and white flag.
Yeah, but your lap time is also deleted for that lap.
Right. Okay. Cool. But what does that mean in the race? It doesn't mean nothing for a race.
But it's still
talk about qualifying principle. Where you need to set a good lap time.
It's still the same principle.
It's not the same principle.
It is, because if someone goes deep into a turn,
what are you waffling on about, man?
If someone goes deep into a turn, and they go off track into a turn, they're not just going to get penalised. It's if you gain an advantage or not by going off track. Lando goes off track and he's coming off the throttle and slows down and loses time.
And he's just driven through gravel.
Yeah, he doesn't gain an advantage. That's why his lap time stands. It's all about if you gain an advantage by going wide. That's why there's a lot of track limits and penalties in the Austrian Grand Prix, because you gain an advantage by carrying speed through and going wide those last 2 corners.
Listen, all I'm saying is it just seems to be some rules for one and not the other. We all have our own thoughts and opinions.
Because Hamilton was second that you're saying that.
Listen, mate, I tell you what, that was a weird morning. That I didn't see it coming, but I was all for it.
Everyone saw it coming. I think that was after saying so many times this season how consistently good Max Verstappen is. I think that was the first session that we've seen in a long, long time that Max has actually struggled. I mean, there was 3 or 4 instances where he went off track because of the slippery conditions.
I don't think anyone really could really get used to the conditions.
No, but I think I was wondering this, and Will, you might have a better insight than I do. But the fact of they were going off so much, and there was obviously, I mean, this was their first run, so obviously there's only 8 minutes in SQ3, and this was their first run, so they were crossing the line, and there was still 6 minutes to go. But probably about 4 minutes to go. So there would have been enough time to go in the pits, put some wets on, come back out and do another flyer right at the end. I was wondering, because everyone was going off track, why no one was going to do that?
Because the longer the cars are out on track, the drier line becomes more and more prominent. So if you are staying out on track, they would have fueled the cars to do multiple runs, because also you do a flying lap. So you do a flying lap, obviously, when you come out of the pits. Then you'll do a banker lap.
No, that's an out lap.
Same thing. Out lap, where you come out the pits, you get a feel of the car, what it's going to be like. You don't push. Then you do a push lap, obviously. And then your second push lap, you'll know, because you'll go into turn 1, you'll be like, I can brake a bit later here. I can get on the power earlier. But if you then go into the pits, you won't have that direct muscle memory straight away. Whereas if you do go round consistently, you could realise, I can brake a bit later here, I can get on the power here.
Yeah.
That's wet, that's dry.
The thing I love about kind of when it rains for qualifying specifically is because everyone takes different lines. So, of course, in a normal race, everyone will take the same line. But in the wet, the reason Lando was 1.2 seconds on pole, and it's the biggest in the hybrid era, and since 2014, it's actually the biggest pole margin, if you didn't know, is because you can take different lines. The I think I read an interview once. So that Spa 2021, after that Lando crash, George Russell put it on the front row by copying the line Lando took before his crash. So
yeah, I saw that the other day.
Yeah, anything can happen in the wet. That's what I like. I mean, Leclerc obviously was very lucky because he broke his front wing, went off, but was able to continue. He'd gone off just beforehand. Norris had and Verstappen had. And then again, something we've spoken about so many times, and I mentioned it on the TikTok, is that I love when you're live with a car, you're live with an onboard, and something happens, and you get a live reaction. And obviously, Verstappen goes off at the final turn.
Something I do want to get your opinion on is, was it SQ1 or was it Q? Was it SQ2 or was it Q2 when the signs went off?
That's Q2.
That's Q2. Right, we'll come on to that then. We'll come on to that.
By the way, I was a big fan of our Twitter this weekend by including images. Makes it more fun when you look through it and you can.
Ben, you're really quiet.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might turn up a little bit.
Hello.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's better. That's better.
Okay. Yeah. No. Sorry, I must have knocked it. I was just saying, I'm a big fan of the Twitter. Just it's nice just looking through it. It's just nice looking at pictures and not just text. Really, I liked Alex Albon's helmet of the panda.
That was brilliant. That was so. Like, that's the thing. I saw someone's TikTok on it, and they were saying about how George and Alex's helmets were different, but it kind of represented their personalities. Because George was going for red as homage to his the colours that he used to drive in. He had the Chinese numbers for 63, obviously his race number. He had I think it was the tiger on the back of his helmet, which is because it's the year of the I think it's the year of the tiger, one of the animals that it's the year of. He had that on the back of his helmet. It was red because of everything like that. So George's was very nice and kind of appropriate and or not appropriate. I don't really know what the word is here, but it was very professional. And then you go over to Alex, and he's just got a panda. And I mean, that camera that sits just under the halo or just on top of the halo that shows the face cam. It was so funny just seeing that image was brilliant. Yes.
The year this year is the dragon. So it might have been a dragon, not a lion.
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
He said tiger.
Yeah. one of the three. But
I like the F1 portrayed by Top Gear again. They get their weekly shout out for the grass in Shanghai, and it's Jezza trying to put out a car fire, and it's just not going.
Yes, I did see that. That was quality. That was
another shout out to them.
But I think it's brilliant to see that we had two Brits on the front row of it wasn't an actual qualifying session, but a sprint qualifying session. And then obviously going into the sprint race on the Saturday morning, going into turn one. Touch and go.
I'm sorry, but I didn't want to look over the fact Russell got eliminated in Q2, SQ2. We're just going to jump over that.
Oh no, yeah, because Bottas out-qualified him, didn't he? Bottas was, I mean, credit where credit's due. Sauber actually done quite well this weekend. I think we could probably run through every single team and discuss something about it. Sauber's done quite well this weekend.
How are you still not liking the look of that steak F1 car?
No.
It looks unreal.
No.
It looks so good.
No.
The green's just hitting different. You boys can't see it. It's poor.
But yeah, no, Bottas done really well. I think he qualified, was it 9th or 10th in the end? Because it was him and Hulkenberg which took up the last two positions.
No, it was him and Zhou.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Zhou got into SQ3.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Also,
you watched it, Ollie.
Yeah.
I was sleeping.
Well, the Saturday morning I was sleeping, but
well, for those that aren't aware, it was obviously Lando took pole, Lewis in second, and Fernando third. Max was fourth. He couldn't get his lap in, and I was really looking forward to the sprint. And again, these bloody early ones, they're catching me out, and I did miss it, and I do apologise.
Oh.
Yeah, well, some of us have to work, mate. So
on Saturday.
Yeah.
The 8 a.m. Yeah, the Saturday I was working as well.
8 a.m. Sorry, I'm pretty sure the sprint race was 4:30.
Was it? No,
Yeah.
I was the sprint shoot at 4:30.
No, the sprint race was 4:30, and then the qualifying was 8:00.
Anyway. Oh, I've just seen predictions. That will be fun to go through because obviously,
It's nice that someone remembered this week to ask at a decent time.
Yeah, well, seems to be me going forward then, as you've now elected me the predictions leader.
As I said last week, you have all the stats. Who else would it be? I'm not going to ask Ollie's Mrs. Finney to do it when she has no idea.
Reel them in.
Oh,
to
be fair, I almost missed it for the race on Sunday.
Yeah, you nearly did.
I was really,
and I nearly got karma. Because I was going to directly go back up in the chat and quote your thing that you put, if you snooze, you lose.
In a way, Ollie, I was kind of hoping you were going to miss it just to see your reaction, if you're going to take it like a man or if you're going to try and change the rules.
I set one alarm for 8:30 and then I set one alarm, 7:30, then one alarm for 7:45. And I woke up for the 7:30 one and then fell back asleep. So I was already kind of half awake, and the 7:45 one was kind of like, right, okay, up now. And then I looked at my phone and I was like, I almost forgot predictions.
Yeah, well, but that sprint qualifying probably was my favourite session of the weekend out of the five.
The best qualified sessions of the year so far.
Oh, it was brilliant.
It was really good.
SQ3 really report was fantastic. I mean, it was kind of like it was kind of the first bit this year where we didn't actually know who was going to take pole or be first or second or third. It's because, well, I mean, it's the changing conditions really kind of prompted everyone to. But I mean, I think even though it's a massive shock that Max came fourth, he went fourth by going off the track like 3 times and losing so much time. It's like, if he actually managed to keep it between the lines, he would have been about 5 seconds clear.
But Ben noticed how that time stayed because he went off the track because he lost time. That's how it works. That lap time wasn't deleted because he lost time. That's how it works. If you lose time,
the time that he had for fourth was the time that didn't go off the track. It was the one he'd set
went off
before.
The track in one of them that he came fourth in.
Yeah, but not off into the gravel.
Oh, well.
But, right, before you two start yapping on about
no accountability from this man.
We'll
move on to the actual sprint race itself.
Can I drop something about this sprint race?
Go on.
Ollie, you can get ready to react. Lando Norris will never be a race winner because he can't handle the pressure of starting on anywhere near the front. He can't. He simply can't, because we've seen it so many times when he's leading a race, he simply cannot handle the pressure and just loses all sense of ability.
I think you got a fair point, to be fair.
It's happened too many times now, and he needs to notice how, and all his podiums as well are him. Most of his podiums as well are him coming from like 4th or 5th into the podium, not holding a podium, starting there and holding it. That's just how I see it. I don't think he'll ever win a race because he simply does not have the bottle to hold out.
Yeah, no, I see that. I think he's kind of one of the, because I mean his performance on the Sunday morning was fantastic to finish second.
But when he started that race, this will help me back it, because if he started, I think he started 5th. Did he not?
He might have done, yeah.
I think he started 5th, and if he did, then listen,
he started 4th. Yeah,
he started 4th, so outside the podium. So
no, I don't think. I think you're right there, because I mean, you look how. I think one thing. I think it's the fact of Sochi resonates within him way too much. I think whenever because I mean, we all know that after that race in Sochi where he went off after leading for so long, the amount of times in interviews where he seemed so dejected about everything to do with Formula One. And I mean, it came out probably the 2022 season when he was saying it actually affected me a lot mentally. I think even though that's been 3 years almost since that incident. I still think when he's out in front, he gets a bit jittery.
Yeah, I simply don't think he has the bottle to do it.
Like, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic driver. I mean, putting it on the front row by 1.2 seconds on the Friday morning, I mean, it shows the quality he has, but over long, extended periods, it's a bit like...
He doesn't have it, no. He does not have it, in my opinion.
Does anybody else want to discuss what happened at the start of the sprint race?
What, Lewis and Lando?
Yeah, Lando bottled it.
Okay.
No, I disagree with that, Will.
Well, no, not only Lando bottled it, but let's be honest, it's a great move by Lewis going into turn one, but all Lando had to do was just back out and then stick with him instead.
Is this man immune to giving praise?
No, Will, he still would have conceded the position to Lewis.
No, that's my point. But he would have let me talk. He would have conceded the position, yeah, but all Lando then had to do was tuck back in behind. But instead, my point is, Lando completely bottles it and just drops down to P8.
Well, Lewis actually said that himself, I'm pretty sure. He said that because Lando stayed side by side, it gave Lewis the chance to go off and run. Don't get me wrong, Lewis positioned his car perfectly, and that was kind of... It was reminiscent of the old Lewis that we watched prior to, like, in the 2020 season, 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, reminiscent of all them Lewis years. But
2016 wasn't. Okay.
No, 2016, I think you've got to give credit where credit's due. 2016, Lewis was still good, but it's just his car was really,
good,
really...
It wasn't his season, is what I'm saying.
No, but it was reminiscent of the Lewis that we've known previously, but he said it himself. He said that if Lando actually backed out, conceded the position, instead of trying to fight for staying in first, then he wouldn't have dropped to... Because he dropped down to fourth, was it?
No, further back than that, mate. It's like sixth or seventh or eighth or something.
And that's my point. If he'd have not... Because he panics and doesn't have he doesn't have the
drivability?
No, because he does. But it's like he doesn't have the composure. Because he doesn't have the composure and the knowledge to just be like, okay, I'll concede this position, but I can still fight again for it. Because the McLaren is quicker. All he had to do was concede and then just go again. But because he doesn't have the composure or knowledge of what it's like to lead a race, it only cost him. And that's why I think he won't win a race anytime soon.
Talk about that battle for third, though. That was amazing.
Brilliant. I mean, because it was Perez, Alonso, Sainz, and Leclerc, and it was... I mean, to be fair, that's the thing. I think this race weekend, everyone's going to look at it and go, Max didn't get pole in the sprint quali, but he got pole in normal quali. He won the sprint race by 13 seconds, and he won the race by 13 seconds. Oh, it's another boring weekend.
Race would have been a lot more, by the way, if it wasn't for safety cars.
Oh, yeah. But this weekend, by far, has been the best of the season. It was all across...
No, I preferred Australia, mate.
We know why. But I think the racing across the grid as a whole was just phenomenal. Like, even if it wasn't on in the top 10, and this is what they were saying on commentary, and we'll get onto commentary in a minute because I just want to touch on a certain someone that was on commentary. But the racing, so they were saying that they want 2 extra places for points because that would be phenomenal. Because, I mean, obviously the top 10, you think of the teams that you've got, you think Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin and Mercedes. That's already the 10 positions. If all of the drivers from them teams stay in the top 10, that's all the points you're going to get.
And if they don't, Nico Hulkenberg arrives.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, there's not really much point of the other 10... the other 5 teams really racing. I mean, obviously there's Lance Stroll. I know what you're going to say.
Saying that there's 9 positions because it's Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, and Fernando
Alonso.
Yeah, Stroll doesn't count. I don't want to hear any of it.
But yes, the person in question, as I was saying about commentary, Nico Rosberg on commentary has to be every single race. He is so good at what he does. And the thing, he's so stereotypically German in the fact of everything has to be correct. every time Crofty makes a statement saying something that might not be right, Nico's like, no, that's not right. What are you on about? It's like Crofty said over the weekend, oh yeah, it's really, really cloudy here in Shanghai. Nico turns to him and goes, no, there's just clouds over the sun. It's actually quite nice out. There's just a few clouds that have covered over the sun for the time being. So...
Why have you got bubbles?
My laptop does that all the time. I don't know why it does it. But yeah, no, I think... but yeah, no, Nico on commentary, I think, is a brilliant addition to
I think
the
so.
team.
I really like him.
He's insight. I think it's all well and good having Karun and Anthony and Damon on commentary. Obviously, all previous experience in F1. But in Karun and Anthony Davidson, you've got drivers that haven't really succeeded in the sport and haven't won a race. With Damon Hill, yes, you've got a world champion, but that was in the 90s. With Nico, you've got someone that has driven these modern cars. Yes, okay, they're not exactly the same because it was 8 years ago that he won the world championship and then retired. But he's the most experienced driver in modern-ish machinery, and he's won a world championship within the last 10 years. So his insight that he brings, I think, is far superior to any of the other former drivers that they have on the team.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was really good. I think it was really, really good. And he should be on there every week because he is the one who offers the best amount of knowledge. That's how I see it personally.
But anyway, let's get back to that battle for third between the two Ferraris, Alonso and Perez. I mean, it was just that's what we want, but we want it for the race win. We don't want it for second or third or fourth. We want that for the win. I mean, it was still brilliant to watch, but it's kind of like, could that not be for the win? If it was for the win, it would just made it so much better. But obviously, Max at that point had gone so far up the road that it kind of didn't really...
8 clear?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. But yeah, no, so it was... Well, I think there are probably, 3 talking points mainly. It was the battle between... Who were the two drivers that were battling first? Wasn't it Alonso and...
Well, Alonso came out worse in the end with puncture.
Yeah, because it was Alonso and Sainz that were battling. And then during that battle, Alonso got the puncture when...
Pushed Sainz off wide. Then
Perez then swooped through. Alonso then dropped back and then had to, unfortunately, retire. And then Leclerc and Sainz, oh my God. Fred Vasseur must have been having kittens on the pit wall.
Yeah, it was quite fun to watch, though. It's nice to see two teammates going out. But why is it that Sainz, whenever it's him and Lando, like, he doesn't try, but whenever it's his own teammate, absolutely...
Don't get me started on not trying.
He absolutely gives it everything to finish ahead of him. And that's why I think Ferrari will implode at some point this season because they don't have a number one. Well, they do, but it's not obvious.
Do you think this is...
Each driver thinks they are, but the team know it's Leclerc, even though Sainz is better.
Do you think this weekend is like the start of something big that's going to happen?
Yeah. No, because basically Sainz is going to be like, all right then, if you're kicking me out, I'm just going to do what I want then. I'm not going to listen to team orders because I'm not part of this.
He's not, because he still needs a seat.
Well, yeah, but why would he care about what
He's not going to throw his toys out the pram because it's not going to help him get a good deal.
Why would he care about what Ferrari want him to do? If he's going to battle him, he's going to fight.
Well, it's called sportsmanship, Will.
Oh, listen, mate, you're just... You just want to just... If this was Lewis, by the way, you'd be like, no, don't offend him. Don't offend him. Let him do what he wants.
But right, okay, so... Right, final notes on this sprint. I don't think anything else apart from the battle for P3 did occur. Max obviously won by 13 seconds in 22 laps, which is ridiculous. Lewis came from 13.
19 laps.
Was it 19 laps? Oh.
That's even more impressive, as that's like 3/4 of a second a lap.
Yeah. Yeah, so
he's just really good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all right.
He's won 53 of so I saw something that blew my mind. So there's been 106 races since they were last in China in 2019, and he's won 53 of them. So that's exactly 50% of the races he's won.
Guys,
in 5 years.
Do we put Max Verstappen in the top 5 of all time?
This is what Rosberg said, didn't he? Rosberg said it was
also,
Fangio, Lewis, Schumacher. Was it Alonso and Max?
No,
Senna and Max.
And also, why is he pushing top 3? Because at what point do you put him above? I don't want to say it, but at what point do you put him above Senna? Because
what's your top 3 then, Will?
If he Hamilton, Schumacher, Senna, but it could be Verstappen at the end of the season.
And what's yours, Ollie?
I think I'd have to say the same, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't get me wrong, I love Senna. I absolutely adore Senna. I think Senna was incredible, like a freak of nature when it comes to ability and stuff like that. Senna was, I think, the Lionel Messi of the F1 world. Just some random kid who seems to just have buckets of talent and just naturally gifted.
I'll ask you this: if you believe that, why do you think that he got beaten by Prost?
Why do I think he got beaten by Prost? Just because Prost was just as good. That's the thing. But when you're talking about, and that was an equal machinery as well.
I think the way to look at it is, and I know this is like such a stupid thing to say, but if you look at like I'm not sure what I'm trying to look for, but aura, I guess, of the driver, Senna's kind of the way, like everyone talks about Senna as being such a hard driver. Like, I don't think people talk about Prost as much as they talk about Senna.
Yeah, what I was going to say was, name me one Prost quote. You could name at least 3 from Senna that everyone remembers. But it's not only that, it's Senna's overall ability, like rain, hail, sunshine, cloud.
Having a gearbox that just decides not to work.
Yeah, well, Alan Prost is not doing a full, over 3/4 of a Grand Prix in 5th gear alone. It's not happening. It's never happening.
That is, by the way, I know we weren't alive for that, but that has got to be, like, watching the highlights back of that race.
I've watched it 5 times.
That's got to be one of the most ridiculous things to ever happen, like, during the Formula 1 race, and still win the race.
And that's why he is in the top 3. But at the end of this year, I genuinely think it could be Max, because I said he's the Lionel Messi of the F1 world. Max is Ronaldo.
Max is Ronaldo. 100%.
Max is Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Hard work and dedication.
And he doesn't take, well, obviously Senna has that as well, but then the fact of I see the resemblance more now that you said it, the resemblance of Max and Ronaldo. It's not that they won't lie down for anyone.
Yeah, it's the ego, but in a good way. It's that I want to be the best. It's like the quote he said, "I'm never losing to Perez again." That screams Ronaldo. I want to be the best. In his opinion, he is the best. To other people, he won't be. But and that's why I genuinely think he's now in the top. If he wins this, he's in the top. If he wins this year, that'd be his 4th championship, and then you are putting him in the top 3.
Because
if he wins another, he's really starting to push the top 2.
What's the record? Record's 5 in a row, isn't it?
Yeah.
Schumacher, 2000 to 2004. So he could be on for doing that. Because as much as I would love, and I've said it, that hopefully Lewis can give him a challenge next year, or anyone for that matter. Really, 2026 will be the first sort of fresh start again.
Yeah.
If Red Bull went and dominated that, then there's absolutely no denying that he could become the first ever world champion, double-digit world champion. But if that becomes the point, I can assure you I won't be watching Formula 1.
But I think
why? Because it's still amazing.
Will, for him to be a double world champion, that means, so this would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so 2030. So he would have won 10 championships in a row. Why on earth would I be watching a sport where the same person won 10 years in a row?
27 then.
But here's the thing: we watch the Premier League. where City are about to
Yeah, they're going for 4 in a row, not 10 in a row.
Who's to say they can't do 5, 6, and 7? Max is going for 4 in a row right now. It's the same thing.
No,
We still watch it.
No, things change.
Well, I think the difference is that the Premier League you've actually got a title race for.
Oh yeah, no, we've got a title race this year, but how often
But
does that actually happen? Yeah, how often does that actually happen?
To be fair, I think this brings me on something quite weird. I was talking to Finney about this before we started recording, and the way that I now perceive the top 3 teams. Well, not the top 3 teams, but like some of the teams in F1 is kind of like sometimes I do compare them to football teams a little bit.
Yeah.
So Red Bull, obviously, Man City got the best of everything, all the facilities they could possibly want, and they're winning everything. Ferrari are kind of like Arsenal. They're good, but they're going to bottle it at some point.
They were good back in the day.
Yeah, and then you've got McLaren, who are similar on a level, especially at the minute, to Aston Villa. They're kind of like the best of the team that the team that you don't expect.
Villa, absolutely Villa.
But they are up there, and also they have history because obviously Villa won
the. Even in the glory days, absolutely fell off, got relegated. Now they're back up to where they should be.
Yeah,
absolutely Aston Villa.
No, I'd say McLaren more like
is United.
No, I'd say McLaren more like Liverpool.
No,
because Liverpool, when they under like Kenny Dalglish or Roy Hodgson when they were struggling, that's like McLaren Honda era.
Liverpool have been too good for too long to be compared to McLaren.
No, because I'm talking about McLaren were bad in sort of that 14 to 18 time, and in that 14 to 18 time, Liverpool were like.
No, I'd say McLaren have been bad since 2010. Since 2009.
What?
I'd say McLaren.
Are you just forgetting about 2012 when Lewis was still trying to fight for a title?
Yeah, but that's 1 year. But that's like Liverpool do.
I don't think you can really compare.
No, you can't. I think we're clutching at straws here, but the comparisons.
I'd say McLaren. I personally say McLaren as well.
The comparisons are there to see, but I mean, we'll get on to the final 2 events of the weekend. Quali, nothing really happened. I mean, well, one big thing did happen, which Ben won't want to talk about. Sir Lewis Hamilton, after having an amazing performance in SQ3,
and I'm happy to talk about it. But why did you gear up his bad part, but you didn't gear up? Why did I have to bring in his good part?
Did you not think I was going to get onto that?
No, because we've already gone past sprint. We're moving on to quali now. I don't mind talking about it. He was awful. He was horrendous, and I would have to. Well, very rare that Will does this, but he did actually make me laugh when he sent through the Saka thing of Lewis become set up. That absolutely done me, and I thought, fair play.
So just in case anyone's not aware, whenever Bukayo Saka drops a stinker in a big game, he well, not even a big game, in any game, he seems to limp.
Injury.
Yeah, he seems to limp at the end of every game, and that is Lewis Hamilton's escape of the setup excuse.
I'll be honest, even though I'm getting a little bit tired.
It seems to be every weekend.
I'm getting up. Yeah, and remember this. It is me saying, I'm getting annoyed with it, and it's it's on you now, Lewis. But don't you also think that that's quite amazing that he can still then you can see where the car's at, but what he still did a day before. But I'll still tell you, it's bad. That P18 isn't set up. It's him messing up his 2 laps and going out.
How he goes from second
to second to last.
Second to last.
0 to 0. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then also as well,
it is a mystery.
The inconsistencies aren't nice to see. Like it's like as much as it's like we can see that he's not doing great now. It's like we can so vividly remember how good he was. The fact of he's now so inconsistent. He's either pushing the car to the absolute limit and actually fighting really well, or he's not doing anything and really struggling. Because I mean, I know he only got 9th on the Sunday morning in the race, but to go from 18th to 9th is still a phenomenal job. It's like you've qualified 18th, you've done really poorly, but then you've gone up 9 positions in one race and you've done really well. It's like the contrast and the inconsistencies are just...
Especially when he started on the soft tyre as well, and it literally did nothing for him, and he pitted after like 7 laps. So his first stint was awful. They got it all wrong there. I'm starting to wonder if it's just because for the previous 16, 17 seasons he's been in Formula One, I reckon he's gone into every single year with a mindset of, I'm going to be world champion. And I reckon this is probably the first year where he's just, God, I really don't care, lads.
Yeah.
It might actually be that, to be fair.
He's just, it doesn't really matter. Of course, he's not going to be wanting to wake up every week to finish 9th and 10th, but maybe the mindset just isn't there. Thinking about next year.
If you think about it, he's not used to not finishing in points positions, because even from when he first started in Formula One, I mean, he was competing for a championship in his first ever year, all the way through until 2022. I mean, obviously there were a few bad years at the end of his McLaren days, but he was still winning races,
still winning Hungary,
consistent podium.
There's this amazing edit. Oh my God, it's so amazing. Because he was on the podium for like his first 7 races in F1. The first race that he didn't finish on the podium, he didn't even know where to park after a race. How cold is that? That's unbelievable that he didn't know where to park his car because he's so used to being on the podium as a rookie. I mean, that's
quite
class.
cool.
But yeah, qualifying, obviously, it was Max and Checo, and then Fernando was up there this weekend in qualifying.
Fernando thrived all weekend, to be fair.
Yeah, he still got it in the old dog.
It's such a weird one, because it's like 1 week it's like you're watching Fernando race and it's like, oh, he doesn't care anymore. This isn't... I mean, we haven't mentioned, by the way, that he's decided to extend until 2026.
That was always going to happen.
So
no, I didn't see it coming. I said on here recently, didn't I? I said that he's going to announce his retirement in a couple. I did not see this coming.
I saw it coming as like a little, a publicity thing. Like, I might leave. What do I, And he just...
Well, to be fair, the way that he announced it, the video was kind of very similar and reminiscent to when Seb decided to retire, because he came in and he was sitting down, or the video started and he was sitting down on a chair or whatever, and it's kind of like, oh God, we've seen this one before, and then it's like, I'm staying, and it's like, oh, okay. But
I honestly can't believe it. I was shocked, but fair play to him. He definitely doesn't need to. He definitely isn't certain drivers that need to give up their seat. He still deserves. He's not one of the old boys that's dragging it out and others aren't able to get in. Maybe look to the other side of his garage if you want that sort of.
We'll get onto that in a minute.
But I was personally shocked by it. But did you know his move on site that obviously caused him to kind of puncture? He got 3 penalty points for that on his license.
Again?
Yeah.
So I think he's now up to 7.
But then who was it? I think it was someone who caused a collision during the race. Only got 2 penalties. Yeah, Magnussen for spinning Tsunoda only got 2 penalty points.
Yeah.
So what?
I know.
It's the FIA are just...
Also, as well, you may or may not know this, but Daniel Ricciardo has a 3-place grid penalty for Miami.
Why?
Because he overtook Leclerc under safety car conditions, but he thought he could take him back because Hulkenberg overtook him when he had the crash with Stroll, where Stroll went into the back of him. So Hulkenberg overtook, but it states in the rules that you can, if a car ahead of you crashes or misses a turn or something. So he thought he was allowed to get him back. He wasn't, so he's now going to have a 3-place grid penalty for Miami. Which, by the way, is another sprint race weekend.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. No, next
2 weeks.
Weekend after,
Oh my God!
By the way, Will, did you know I've been to Miami?
Yeah.
Not this again.
Ollie, I messaged him the other day. I was like, Ben, I didn't know you work at Woking.
Well, I didn't know that you live in Wembley and you support Manchester United.
Yeah, he messaged me going, I didn't know you post on Snapchat. I was like, I can see what you've gone for. It's a bit of a stretch. I see what you've gone for, but a bit of a stretch.
But I also, as well, Ferrari this weekend, I mean, Lando came out and said how he was surprised how ahead. this is what happens sometimes with Ferraris. They just
yeah. They're not even like that. It's like that. Like you never know what to expect from them because they either go from being. So it's like, well, we look back to Australia when Perez was saying, "Oh, they might have just won on race pace anyway," and then you look at this weekend and it's like, they're not really anywhere
in qualifying. Yeah,
but I mean, I think getting onto the race would be the best thing to talk about. I mean,
shout out though Bottas because he got into Q3 as well, so that's
he got
into this week.
But
Oh, Will, is this one this time? Thoughts, please?
I can't
we
see
can't
it.
see it then. Very nice.
Yeah.
I do love them graphics.
I know you
think they look very professional.
I've already made the Miami one.
Nice.
I like to be ahead.
Yeah, so the race, again, images on the Twitter feed. It's just nice to look at. And Alonso went into P2 from the start.
Very, very good start from the wise old dog. But, I mean, yeah, the first 20 laps were kind of a bit meh.
Yeah.
The first 20 laps weren't great until Valtteri Bottas ended and decided to die.
Which was so upsetting considering the weekend he had.
He done so well in sprint quality.
Changed.
I know. Well, I said at the end of last season, I've left all that behind me. I found a new driver to hate. And we'll get on to him in a few seconds. It was quite funny.
He was angry.
When I saw who it was, the two drivers involved, I was kind of like, "Oh, this is perfect for me and Will. This is absolutely brilliant."
I'll let you two talk about it because I'll explode. I'll genuinely explode.
But yes, so we'll lead on to it in a second. But yeah, Bottas's car decided to just give up on him on lap 22. I want to say. Or was it 27? 22?
It was 20.
I think it was lap 20. And just as the safety car decided to come in, it was Alonso who kind of started the chain reaction, wasn't it? He accelerated, decided to brake, and then was it Piastri behind him, or was it Sainz behind him that decided to brake? And then Danny Rick done the same thing, and then...
Oh, we're getting into it now.
Yeah, because that was when it was.
Oh, I'm taking a back seat because I'll explode. Go on, Ollie, you're going to have to take this one.
And then Stroll, who was looking at the apex instead of all the cars in front of him, decided to go right into the back of Daniel Ricciardo, who then damaged Piastri's diffuser as well. And it was just chaos before the safety car had even got in and we got back underway. Max had already shut off at this point.
It reminded me a little bit of, was it Portimao or Magellan? I think it was Portimao in the COVID year where there was a massive crash from the safety car. It was Magellan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it kind of reminded me a little bit like that, where the leader goes off so quickly and no one knows really what's going on. At the time, I thought it wasn't Stroll's fault, but when you watch his onboard, he's not looking. He's looking into the corner. It is his fault.
And the fact he tried to blame Ricciardo for it, oh my god!
Did you see Ricciardo was livid in the media pen?
So bad, like
so funny as well because Ricciardo's is it his friend? I think it's his friend or his brother.
Yeah. So,
married to Lance's sister.
I know, yeah, because it's Scotty James, who is like the best snowboarder in the world currently, is married to Lance Stroll's sister, and Scotty James is part of the Red Bull snowboarding team, or he's sponsored by Red Bull, and obviously Danny Rick's Red Bull as well. So him and Danny Rick, obviously being both Australian as well, are very good friends. So it's kind of put Scotty James in a bit of a sticky situation now, really. I feel bad for Scotty James.
Just take him out of F1, seriously.
Take both of them out of F1.
No, because Ricciardo actually had a good weekend. No,
He did, Ollie. He did.
He had a great weekend. Because you're just hating on him now because you've got nothing to hate on. At least just take Stroll out of F1. He's out of his league. He simply shouldn't be there. He simply shouldn't be. How is it you're under safety car and you're not looking at the car in front of you? You base your entire pace off of the car in front of you under safety car.
The fact that he's looking at the apex is
Oh,
genuinely stupid.
and then the fact that he turns around and blames it on Ricardo. Just
he doesn't take any accountability. Nothing's ever his fault.
No, and everything always is. Everything always is. Just take him out of F1. He needs to be gone. He needs to. Oh, him and Logan Sargent. What the point? What is the point of Logan Sargent being here? He's useless.
He is really
Shocking.
Well, it's very ironic for us to sit here and say that when we couldn't even get in the car. But for them that are supposed to be in a certain level, I think I respected James Vowles' decision to not just chuck a rookie out. I mean, obviously, look what happened to Nick De Vries. Nick De Vries got chucked out halfway through a season. But I respected the fact that they wanted to. But he doesn't really. Sargent, what does he bring?
It's time to go.
Yeah, I think, believe it or not, it's probably a PR thing in terms of for American races. I don't really see what he does. Of course, maybe he does give insightful information to the team.
Alex has more experience to be able to do that.
Information he gives. Oh yeah, the back of the grid looks really nice.
Well, no, but in a weird sort of way, maybe because he doesn't actually race anyone, maybe like that's good for. He's got like
so he's just doing practice. So he's paid to do practice laps every weekend constantly.
Basically,
I'm finding out how much this American fraud is on.
Going back to the actual incident itself, did you see Max's reaction in the cool down from?
Yeah,
it was brilliant. He was trying his best not to absolutely burst out laughing, and that did make me chuckle a bit. But yeah, the incident.
Did you know as well? Max has won in 26 different circuits now, and that's only 5 behind Lewis's record.
Bloody hell!
Because he hadn't won in Shanghai. In fact, last time they were in China, he only had 5 race wins.
And now he's on 53.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah. No, he's nearing 60. So,
but yeah, I mean, only shortly after the incident between Stroll and Ricciardo. Go on. How much is he on?
He's on 780,000 a week.
No, that's not going to be true.
Is
that with? To be fair, Ben, it could be if you factor in all the sponsorships and all the commercial stuff that he does.
Oh wait, no. Sorry. It's a year.
I was going to say
it's a year. Because I've just read that Verstappen's on 54, and I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on.
But
no way. Logan Sargent's no. A year makes more sense.
780,000 a year to do back marker stuff
when his teammate albeit isn't doing phenomenally, but at least is trying to push for points.
The only thing Logan Sargent offers to this sport is a second Williams car that he gets taken away from him, and an American audience, and he's on 780,000 a year. If he's on that, I should be at least on 20 to be on this podcast, because I reckon I offer about the same as an F1 driver. Honestly, that's shocking.
It's not true though, is it, Will?
It's just shocking. I don't see the point.
Then there are so many better drivers in the wings. Just
Ollie!
Lance.
Oh, don't even get me started on Lance.
Oh,
Andretti.
Right. I'll tell you what, Ollie.
2 good drivers.
Ollie, who do you reckon's higher? Lance Stroll or Daniel Ricciardo?
Oh, Danny Rick. Of course he is.
Danny Rick is on 5.5 mil a year. And Lance Stroll is on 2.8.
Yeah, of course Danny Rick's on more. It's a bloody PR stunt.
And again, I'd say Lance Stroll's on 2.8 mil a year. Then again, he isn't paying much back to the team because he's just giving it back to his dad. Hold on, Lance Stroll's just getting pocket money. Lance Stroll's getting 2.8 million a year worth of pocket money. I'm fed up with this now. This ain't fair.
Do you reckon
Oscar Piastri's on 4.7.
No wonder he didn't want to go to Alpine.
Yeah. Well, and the car as well. My God, that thing is an absolute
It
pig.
is. But Ocon 11th, best result of the season.
Ollie, Valtteri Bottas is on 7.8 million. 7.8 million.
Well, that's why they can't afford a bloody pit crew, because they're paying Valtteri that much.
Yeah, that's why they can't. That's why they can't afford the new locking wheels.
Oh,
They got sticky wheel nuts.
talking about pit crews, by the way, Joe, I think, well, to be fair, let's be fair to them. Sauber's pit stops have improved over the course of the last few races. Still not great. Joe's being 5.4, I think it was, at one point. But you look at the other end of the grid. Red Bull made 4 pit stops, all in all, 8 seconds. 2 second pit stops, 1 2.1 second pit stop, and 1 1.9 second pit stop. They changed 16 tyres in a grand total of 8 seconds.
Have you seen the video of them doing it with Bottas watching?
Huh?
Have you seen the video of the Red Bull pit stop and Bottas is there watching it?
No.
It's so funny. It is. It's like The Office camera kind of. It is quite funny. I thought you were going to set me up for Alpine and what happened to their mechanic.
Oh, yes, that was...
They had a 19.3 second stop and one of their mechanics got knocked over.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you see that, Will?
I didn't see that. No.
But
Oh,
yeah, very... I mean, at least the mechanic was okay, which is a good sign. Obviously, it's fairly reminiscent of when... Was it Kimi at Ferrari had a pit stop and one of the mechanics stood in the way of the rear wheel and it broke the mechanic's leg or something like that, I'm pretty sure. But I saw someone say that if it was any other car, then the mechanic's leg probably would have fallen off. But because the Alpine is so slow,
Oh my
it
God.
didn't hurt the mechanic.
Hey, Will, by the way, Will, listen to this tweet that I put out on lap 34. 10-second time penalty for 2 cars. Safety car infringement for Sargent and causing a collision for Stroll.
This sums it up, really.
It does, really.
Also, that safety car infringement was harsh. That is so harsh. He literally, it's
It's the one where Hulkenberg's coming out the pit lane, isn't it?
As Hulkenberg's coming out the pit lane, they're basically level as they pass the safety car bleed line.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they give him a penalty because they're neck and neck as Hulkenberg comes out the pit lane and Sargent's next to him, basically. Sargent can't turn his head and see where he is. They can only turn their head that far. You can't see directly over there, can he?
No, I did feel for Sargent a bit because it did seem really harsh. Like I didn't realise it at first, but then when they showed it back on the replay, I was like, well, Hulkenberg's just coming out the pits. How's Sargent meant to know, oh yeah, Hulkenberg's coming out now? Obviously he's probably got comms going, okay, yeah, he's coming out now. Yeah. Be careful on the inside line. But it's like he's coming out the pits. He's obviously going to be a lot slower than what Sargent's.
But also, Sargent now has 8 penalty points and they don't expire until September. So he's only 4 away from a race ban.
Cross the bleed line at basically the same time. It's ridiculous.
Well, can I say, Fernando Alonso has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever, by the way. So, of course, I want to make it very clear. I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not really a Taylor Swift fan. But she put a new album out. One of her lines is, I'm an Aston Martin that you steered straight into the ditch. Now, imagine...
He's already done it, Ben. He's already...
Yeah. What do you mean?
He did the quote thing.
Well, he almost did it. He saved it miraculously.
No, that's what I'm saying. So that miraculous save, he has the opportunity to put that on like Instagram story and play that clip of the song over the top.
You already done that.
What are you talking about?
They've already done. He's already done that. I saw that earlier.
Yeah, but that's not going to be his main Instagram, is it?
No, it was. Wait, where is
You're lying to me. You're telling me Fernando Alonso has done.
So I've just seen one of the quotes, one of the tweets, one of the replies being, "It's actually about Lance Stroll."
No, he hasn't. If he had,
Sky Sports F1 have done it, but I thought it was with Alonso.
Yeah,
so
Sky Sports F1 have done it. Yeah,
I thought it was with Alonso as well, though.
Unfortunately not. But that was some hell of a save.
In
the onboard.
Oh, he was literally full lock the other way, and he just keep it on the track. And then what's even more ridiculous is he didn't lose any time to Lewis.
No, I know.
Like, what? But another thing to get onto, I guess, is after the first safety car, a second safety car was pretty much brought out immediately afterwards, because Magnussen decided to send the most stupid move down the inside of Tsunoda, clipping his back wheel and then ruining Tsunoda's race, and ultimately bringing out another safety car, ruining Fernando's strategy as well. But what did you make of that move from Magnussen?
Dumb.
It was
dumb.
His fight with Stroll at the back was amazing.
Yeah, Will, you've got to give flowers where they're due. That battle between Stroll and Magnussen
was good.
Absolutely phenomenal. It's pretty much side by side for a whole lap.
That's where Stroll belongs.
Did you hear what Oscar Piastri had to say about Lance Stroll?
No.
So Lance Stroll said that the reason he crashed was because drivers ahead suddenly braked. And Piastri turned around and went, "Yes, but everyone else didn't crash into each other."
It's my point exactly. He's useless. Get him out of his sport, man. Oh my god.
It's just funny, really. Also, as well, can we talk about Zhou getting a celebratory spot for 14th?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's his home race, and it's the only ever Chinese driver to race the Chinese.
Right, in Miami, when Sargent bins it into the wall, can we just drag the remains of the car into Parc Ferme to have a podium thing?
Did you say if he bins it into the wall?
Sorry, when?
But no, it was nice in a way, because it's like, it's nice to show appreciation for the driver or whatever. But it's like,
wow,
he finished 14th.
Ollie, you know, before we started recording, we were talking about the IndyCar.
Yes.
I was just talking about Scott Dixon, right? Scott Dixon's last 5 IndyCar race wins have come from 8th, 11th, 16th, 15th, and 14th on the grid.
Can people please start watching IndyCar?
IndyCar's so goated.
IndyCar's actually better than F1 this year, and there's only been like 3 rounds.
Wow.
And one of them was the $1 million challenge, which we spoke about on the Bahrain episode, I think it was.
Which is absolutely awesome.
Which, I mean, like, this is the thing, IndyCar's so good. And we've got the Indy 500 coming when the Monaco Grand Prix on, and they do the fastest pit stop challenge.
Here's something I wanted to ask you, Ollie. It's not really that important, but I thought So Long Beach, they always big up as the biggest race in the IndyCar season, other than the Indy 500, right? And it's like, what? And it got me thinking, it's actually a bit rubbish that for Long Beach that it's known as, but any time it's mentioned, it's always one behind Indy 500. What I'm trying to say to you is any other race is just a normal race on their calendar. Like for us, Monaco, we big up Monaco. You wouldn't then go, you don't talk about Silverstone and go, oh, Silverstone's amazing. It's not Monaco, but Long Beach, it's everything I hear is, oh, Long Beach, not the Indy 500, but it's Long Beach. Like, what? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we don't get, with the IndyCar, like when you watch it, you don't get the same coverage as you do with F1, because obviously IndyCar most of the time is on when F1's on. So the coverage, like before the race, you don't get that much analysis. You don't actually, because there's only one for Sky, because they use the NBC coverage, and then there's a guy who works for Sky who does it when the NBC coverage goes on, like ad breaks and stuff. So for me, it kind of feels like Sky, like actually putting it on Sky Sports F1, but there's only like a crew of about 10 people doing it because they just use NBC's coverage. So it feels very much like there's not a lot of production value that goes into it because they're just using NBC's work. So it's like you don't get to understand everything that goes on off the track, before the race, after the race, like in between. Like you don't really get programs going in between. So as much as I love watching IndyCar and I love seeing the racing, and it's fantastic. I mean, Théo Pourchaire, by the way, first he got called into the Aaron McLaren seat for, I can't remember which driver it was. It was ill. I want to say David Malukas, but I don't think it is. Anyway, one of the drivers that wasn't racing for Aaron McLaren this weekend, Théo Pourchaire took his seat, qualified 23rd or 22nd, I think it was, and finished in 11th in his first IndyCar race. So huge congratulations to him. But Scott Dixon as well, I think he's the same age as Fernando Alonso, and he's winning races pretty much week in, week out in IndyCar. And he's been doing it since like the early 2000s. It's
He's a hero.
Class is permanent, isn't it?
Yeah,
Class is permanent.
pretty much. They were actually saying on commentary that Herta, who was second in the race, he was he was born when Dixon was racing in like the IndyCar equivalent of Formula 2. It's like it's kind of, I suppose it's kind of similar to Piastri and Alonso in Formula 1, I guess. So, but yeah, as I was saying, like as much as I love watching IndyCar, there isn't a lot of coverage for like the UK fans, so you don't really get to know and understand a lot about it unless you read up on it a lot online. So it is really enjoyable to watch, and I do absolutely love it. But there isn't enough for us UK fans to.
No, but to be fair, I don't know if I could watch the American coverage or the adverts every 5 seconds in America.
Yeah, but Ben, we don't see them.
No, but what I'm saying to you is if you could watch all the extras, it would be, here's this interview sponsored by brought to you by Oh my God, I can't.
It is literally like that. When the NBC crew come off of their breaks, they instantly go, "Oh, we're back at Long Beach, powered by la da 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 da, sponsored by la da 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 da." Here's la da 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 speaking to these sponsors, and it's like, "Oh my God, there's so much going on." But no, it is
commercial, isn't it?
It is so commercial, but it is brilliant. The racing was absolutely fantastic to watch. I mean, I've said it over the past probably year and a half now. Just watch one race. Watch one race.
Yeah.
You might not know. You might not know drivers.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal. One thing I do quickly want to talk about from that race, which is bonkers to me, before we move on to whatever we move on to in a minute.
Surely predictions.
Yes, after this prediction.
Well, I've got some stats as well, but yeah.
The IndyCar cars itself, I don't know if any of you actually watched the race, but at the end of the race, there was 4 cars going for the lead. It was Newgarden, Herta, Dixon, and one other. And Herta went into the back of Newgarden, going around one of the hairpin corners, basically doing the same incident as what happened with Stroll and Ricciardo, but it was more like the Ricciardo and Piastri where he just about clipped him, didn't really do too much damage. But the thing with the Indy cars is that there's a button underneath the back of the cars which ignites anti-stall. So Herta went into the back of
it's a tactical move.
No, he went into the back of Newgarden, hit the anti-stall button. Newgarden, then his car switched off for like half a second, got back going, but because he'd stopped, the car just died for like a second or two. Herta then had to push him out of the corner pretty much, and then drove around him. It's like, imagine if that happened in F1. The car has decided, you know what, yeah, I'm just going to turn off halfway through a corner. It's just ridiculous to watch. It's so good. I love IndyCar. I couldn't speak highly enough of it. But yeah, let's Ben get into your stats.
Well, I was just going to give you some stats, really, mate. Because sometimes people deserve some praise. Perez being one of them, even though the 1-2 thing come to an end for this year of the constructor that wins, also following out with second, obviously Ferrari and Red Bull. He came third this weekend, but it was the first time that both Red Bulls had been on a podium in Shanghai since 2011.
Wow.
Which is a long time. And also Perez had never actually finished higher than 8th in Shanghai before, so that's very good for him. Obviously, Lando's P2, it's his 15th career podium now, so quite getting to quite a few without a win, but it was his 8th second place in his F1 career, so obviously the remainder are all third places, but 7 of those 8, come in the last 18 Grand Prix.
Oh, wow.
He's been on the grid. So he's doing really well recently. Just obviously, and even he said that second feels like a win.
He's going to win next
second
week.
To Max.
I said he's going to
win. Just you watch. I'm going to make sure I save this episode just in case.
He won't.
Leclerc as well, who obviously took P4. He's now the only driver that's finished in the top 4 every race this season. So consistency, whether or not it should be higher than 4th, but it's consistent to say the least.
And it was also his 14th consecutive point scoring weekend if you include the sprint races.
Damn,
so,
not bad.
you know, he's doing pretty. It's just the qualifying again. He always is on the limit, as we know. And yeah, Sainz's first ever top 6 finish in Shanghai. But that doesn't really surprise me because he was at Renault, I think, last time they were there. Wasn't he? Was he at McLaren at that point?
No, he's McLaren because Danny Kvyat decided to hit him and hit Norris at the same time. Danny Kvyat somehow managed to knock out both McLarens from the same race at the same time. So
impressive.
George Russell, P6. Mercedes have not had a top 4 finish in the opening 5 races for the first time since when, do you think?
2013.
What did you say, Will?
2010.
2011. Alonso finished lower than where he started for the 4th time in 5 Grand Prix this year. So he's maximising the car on a Saturday or on a Friday, not on a Sunday. And he finished in the same position as he did at the last Chinese Grand Prix when he was with McLaren in 2018. P7.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
Yeah. Obviously, I was going to say Hamilton from P18 to P9. That's very good. But it's the 3rd time he's finished 9th in the last 4 Grand Prix. So
oh God,
it's not great. But he got the 7 points for the sprint race for coming second. So
and that's what I can't work out. How's it you go from second, like basically leading the entire race until the Flying Dutchman comes along, and then you go to 18th.
Same day as well.
Yeah.
It's not even like wake up the next day. It's the same day.
It's 3 hours later.
Yeah, mental. Nico Hülkenberg scored points for the 3rd time in 4 Grand Prix races this year, and he only scored in 1 Grand Prix for the entire of 2023. So that's pretty impressive. But he now is tied with Andrea De Cesaris or something on 201 starts without a win.
De Cesaris.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Those were my stats. But we'll move on to the fun part. Oh, by the way, Mercedes have a big upgrade coming from Miami, so keep an eye out for that.
They'll go from 5th to 3rd.
I'll take it. Right, ladies and gentlemen.
The best of the week.
We come to the final part before I can go and have my jacket potato and salmon. And that is predictions. Little jingle. Da, 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 da. So, 4 rounds. Will, don't give me that look. As I said the other day, my friend, if I'm the predictions master, the prediction master has the opportunity to deduct points.
Don't need to deduct anything.
Okay.
Wait,
so,
what does that mean though? If you're losing on the final day by 1 point, you're just going to deduct it.
Yeah, you can be Anthony Knockout, I'll be Dini. So yes, we move, and obviously big weekend because there was 4 sessions to go off of. And this week, believe it or not, I have actually said what I was going to do for the previous 3. I have jotted down where we all got our points and don't just have to try and remember it on the spot. So,
helps.
Sprint qualifying, I was the only person to take a point in that, and that was because I predicted Sainz to come 5th. So I'm on 1 point. Sprint race, only Ollie and Will scored points. Ollie scored 2 and Will scored 1. They both got Verstappen first and Ollie got Sainz 5th. Into qualifying, we all scored a point. I scored 1 and Ollie and Will scored 2. All got Verstappen first and Ollie and Will both got Alonso in 3rd. And we all got a point for the race. Ollie got 1 and me and Will got 2. All got Verstappen. I got Leclerc in 4th and Will got Sainz in 5th. So, for this weekend, I scored 4 points and both Ollie and Will scored 5. So, if we look at the table,
Hold on a minute.
We're all level. 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 We're all level.
with 14 points
Oh no.
is Ollie and Will. So they No, I'm not going too early. I don't want to go too early.
1 point.
Clip that halfway there. Clip that halfway. So I am still leading. Oh, of course I am. I'm the man with the wheel knowledge here. So yeah, 15
With
to
access
14,
to all the
14. Oh my god! Oh my word! Gonna have that with my jacket potato. That's a big fish. That. Ooh. So yeah, there we go. And we move on to obviously another sprint weekend. So another 4 sessions to come.
So what? That's the thing. Potentially, right? This is mental to think. Potentially, if one of us gets all 4 sessions dead on, you could get 40 points.
Yeah, but if anything, that would just ruin it.
Yeah, one.
No, you know what would ruin it if me and Ollie did and you didn't. That would so ruin it. Yeah.
No, but it would ruin it because it takes out this element of fun when I go, oh, Ollie got 1 point this week and Will got 2 and I got 3, but Ollie's still winning with 35 points.
No, it'll make it really fun because you'll be 80 behind us. That'll be really fun.
No. Do you think we should make a rule? Do you think we should actually make a rule for you can't get 40 on a sprint weekend, you can only get 20? I don't.
No, because if you get all 4 of it, like that's just impressive. That's just put a tenner on something, seriously.
Rather than points, you get money.
Yeah, buy
because uni students, you
get a Bet365 sponsorship, Will.
Yeah. But so Ben, just quickly before we say our goodbyes, so just take us through the leaderboard again. So how many points are you on?
So I'm on 15 and yourself and Will are on 14.
Ooh.
Who is your driver of the week?
Oh yeah, driver of the week. You know what? I'm gonna go Valtteri Bottas. Even though he retired from the race on the Sunday, I'm gonna give him credit where credit's due because he's not in the best car on the grid, but to be in the top 10 in 3 sessions out of the 4 in a car that's not great, and then the only reason that he didn't do well on Sunday was because his car just decided to implode. I think you've got to give him credit because that's a very impressive job that he's done. So yeah, I'm going to go Valtteri Bottas driver of the day.
Okay. What about you, Will?
I'm going to go with Fernando Alonso. Okay. Unbelievable weekend, in my opinion. Really, we all kind of questioned it the last 3-4 rounds. If he was actually committed to it, he might leave, and also if the Aston was any good this year. And I think this weekend's just proved that he is very much still deserving of a seat on the grid.
Well, I am going to give my driver of the week to Max Verstappen.
Valid.
Because credit is given where credit is due, and he did have a very dominant weekend. See? And there you go. I am a Formula One fan who will give credit when credit is due.
Is biased.
No.
Is biased.
I'm not biased at all.
No, you're not biased at all. Just takes off the Mercedes jumper.
You should be, mate. Shout out. No, listen, of course, I have my favourites, yes, but credit where credit's due. And actually, Will, I'm telling you now, don't disrespect next year's 8-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton.
And that is...
Ollie, can we please find some Mercedes F1 team branded sunglasses or anything that we can put on Ben, that we have to make Ben put on every time he wants to talk about Mercedes?
Look, listen, boys, I'm obviously a fan, but I will tell you when he's been... And he was terrible. He was terrible in qualifying. It was atrocious to watch.
It was a terrible Sunday. P9 isn't good enough.
But...
P18.
I don't think it's too bad, mate.
To go from P18, if it was any other driver on the grid, I think we would have said P18.
The fastest car.
Yes. The man who is going to be an 8-time world champion next year scores 2 points. Come on!
Actually scored 9.
What a drive!
Scored 9.
Oh, yeah, but that's because he started. That's because he actually put in the work.
Yeah, exactly. So because he's a future world, he's a 7-time world champion,
Not true.
8-time world champion.
Nope.
Going to be 9-time world champion. So.
He will not. He will not win another championship.
Listen, actually, before we go off, I'm getting a little bit. I need to ask you, Will. Are you anti Lewis Hamilton or you anti Ben Parker?
No, I'm not. I'm realistic. I'm not anti Lewis or anti anything. I'm just realistic.
Because you have to give credit where credit's due.
I'm giving.
And he is Sir Lewis Hamilton. 103 race wins.
Yeah,
you can't just forget it.
Because that's why he is the top of like the entire list of everyone who's been in F1, and I've put him there. But bro has fallen off. You need to know when it's time to hang up.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is I'm not saying that he's doing amazing this season, but I'm saying he can get back to where he once was.
But he won't next year.
But you don't know that.
But you
we're
don't
not
know
there.
that he will.
So it's basically saying as though you're both correct and I'm wrong, but we don't. None of us are correct.
No, none of it's so correct. So
No.
you can't be certain.
Exactly. So it's not bias.
That's the beauty of predictions, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. So that's my. It's not bias. Me thinking it. I could say it's bias. You thinking that he's going to do bad because you don't want him to do well.
No,
like
it's not biased. It's realistic.
It's not.
He
It's not.
doesn't have what it takes to match Max right now.
But so all those years are just forgotten about because of what he's doing right now.
Yes, because he's past it.
Look at Alonso. Amazing. Terrible with McLaren. Had an awful car. Back again. Look at him.
Past it, mate. Right now, he's past his prime.
So what about Alonso?
Still past his prime.
So why is he able to do what he's doing?
Because he's got the car underneath him. Yes, but that Ferrari. But he isn't still challenging for race wins, is he? He isn't.
He was last year.
What, for 4 rounds? Come on.
4 rounds more than if he had not been. He retired when he did.
It's still the same outcome.
Boys. I cannot. I just really wish we could bin off this season. I really do. I'm just going straight into next.
Be realistic. You need to be realistic.
I am realistic. I am actually realistic.
You are right though. How do we know that he's going to flop? But then I'll ask you the same question. How do you know he's going to do well?
Because I look at his 7 world championships that he has.
And I look at the last...
Do you know what? He might actually be quite good at what he does.
And I look at the last 3 years.
Right. Okay.
Which is more recent.
Right.
But then I guess...
Look at Alonso again. That's my point.
I was going to say, I guess that's a bit...
When Alonso retired, I could have gone, he was absolutely washed by the end of his career. Look, he's come back and look at him.
Alonso's last championship was 2006. Lewis's last was 2020.
Okay, so do you think Alonso can win another championship?
No.
Yeah.
How? How
that
do you
2026 Aston Martin, you have absolutely no idea what they could cook up. Look at what they did from 2022 to 2023. They just
copy a Red Bull.
Yeah, but didn't get fined for it.
Yeah,
so obviously has their own spin on it somewhere.
Yeah, it's called green paint.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's a good place to end it.
We're going to do this every week, by the way.
Yeah, we probably will. It'll probably be
every week.
One of us. Until next year, we generally won't know.
But that's the beauty of it, I guess. We can have these arguments every other week or every week, but we still won't know.
I don't want to be seen as a Lewis Hamilton hater, though. I agree with Ollie. What Ollie said, I don't think he has it anymore. I think he's, and that's just because of what happened. I think he's lost that killer touch.
I'm gonna tell you a little secret here.
Do you know him on a personal level?
Pardon?
Do you know him on a personal level?
No, I wish I did. I may or may not. I can't believe I'm throwing myself under the bus here. I may or may not have had a meme ready to put up on TikTok when he went pole that I was going to post, and it had Ollie's thing of he'll never win again. And I know it's not a win, but it was then going to be the Curb Your Enthusiasm. And then they reinstated Nando's lap, and I was like, no!
Yeah, so, but I feel like you would have gone too early, because if it wasn't a win...
No, but I wasn't... I say TikTok as in like I wasn't actually, I had like the captions on it, but I was just going to put it in the group chat. But
okay,
right,
yeah, it was So there you go. It's not even in my draft.
By all means, if he wins a race this year, go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? If he wins, then I'll throw out a massive apology.
Mate, if he wins a race, I don't even know if I'll be like able to do this podcast. Yeah.
He's just going to do this. He's just going to do this podcast like
The support he had in China, by the way, wow. Did you see that thing where they're trying to interview Alonso and Stroll and that all the photographers just run off to Lewis? Did you see that?
Yeah, but to be fair, Stroll's got the personality of a bit of dried bread. So you can't really blame him.
And also, do you honestly think that they can understand that Canadian drone? Ugh.
He's too busy licking his visor.
That's true. Okay, well, there you go. There's another episode complete. Thank you for once again being terrible at predictions. Makes my life a lot easier.
Hold on a minute. Didn't we both score more than you?
Yeah, but exactly.
Yeah, we scored 5. He scored 4.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still on top. So what does that say? Up your game, boys. Up
The
your
reason you're on
game.
top is because I was asleep. That's literally the only reason you're on top.
Wow.
Because the prediction I put in for qualifying
got you 1 point.
Yeah,
it'd be
so
joint
I'd
top.
be level.
So it would be joint top.
Yeah, so that's the only reason why you're top.
Okay. Wow. So if anything, then
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
so
Mate, you just
if you lose the championship by 1 point, it's the fact
Yeah.
that you
were asleep.
it's
You know
because
what?
you don't know
You know
don't
what?
know
I'm gonna
when
do
to
it.
go
I'm
for
gonna do Liverpool.
bedtime.
I want to
You
replay.
don't know when to
I
go
want
for
to-
bedtime.
I want to replay. I want to replay that Grand Prix. I want to replay.
You didn't know when to go tonight.
Forrest, I'm going to hire someone. I'm going to hire someone who's done predictions before. To
Will's
make
gonna
to
take
review
over.
all my decisions.
Will's going to take over the Trackside podcast and be when one of me or Ollie have won. We know the guy doing the predictions was a Lewis Hamilton fan.
yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
I made my point clear that Ben Parker was a Lewis Hamilton fan, and I
We
am
will be-
not happy about it.
Hashtag WS will be exploring my options.
Yeah, me and my team will now be exploring our options in the Trackside pod. Unbelievable. I'm not having it.
Okay, there we go, boys.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk about it again. And we will see everyone later, or not later, but we'll see everyone in 2 weeks' time for our review of Miami.
When I overtake Ben.
Oh,
Hopefully me as well,
big words,
but
big
not.
words.
But yes, thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next time.